lot of your fans, they want to know, in your own words, the brief journey behind the formation and transformation of your band Odessy.
Well, Odessy started with my mom, Lillian Lopez, and her sister, Louise Lopez. They were joined by Tony Reynolds, my brothers and I, and some other musicians whose name I can't even remember now, so long ago. But the band started working the club and tourist circuits around New York until a producer by the name of Sandy Linzer came upon us in one of these clubs and thought, "Ooh, you'd be a good, different group to work with." And it was all fine and dandy until they found out that despite her incredibly youthful appearance, my mother and my auntie were well in their 40s.
So it was a shock for the record company.
Absolutely. And when they found out how old my brothers and I were, it just added insult to injury because they were looking to aim at a youthful market with the kind of music that Mr. Linzer was doing. Oh yes, we had number ones and twos and three different songs, but we did okay in the U.S., but we did much better here. Well, we had 5 top 10 hits in this country, and I'm aiming now to take us just to keep it moving and keep it going forward.
Yeah, that's such an accomplishment, and it's been so many years since your band was topping the chart in UK and worldwide. The fans would like to know what's been happening with the group. Where have you been?
The industry has changed quite a bit, and so once we were no longer signed with a major record label, as it were, it becomes a lot harder to get your music out. But it kept going underground. We were still putting things out on small independent labels, independent releases. Many songs which are, still playing in clubs, and you find them on obscure compilation albums and things like that. So it never really stopped. I mean, we always kept going. We kept working, we kept gigging. The soul circuit, the pop circuit, like your Butlins and your places like that. The club circuits all over, and we were still doing the 70s and 80s tours, doing the arenas when you still had them. So we never really disappeared.
You never left.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good to know. And I'm sure a lot of your fans, they want to know what project have you got at the moment? Have you got anything for the fans? Are we looking forward to seeing new material from Odessy?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm going to make my shameless plug and tell you about our Together EP. It features a song called Together, which was written for us back in the day by Nile Rogers and Bernard Edwards, the Chic fellas, and is rumored to be the only song ever that the two of them wrote and performed on, but didn't actually produce. Now, my new co-producer Andy Williams and I, we've put a new take on it. We also have Romina Johnson featured on a new song called Sooner or Later, Ms. Jardine Wilson on a track called He's Coming Back, and I have redone Going Back to My Roots.
I can't wait.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I can't wait. So, if you don't mind, can you tell us, being the baby of the band, when actually you were performing with your mom, so how does it feel? So what was the experience like? Well,
it was strange mostly for people around us, not strange for she and I. I mean, it was basically the way I was raised. We were always, my brothers and I, she raised us all to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and if I may say, adult children. She never really treated us like kids or like babies. So by the time we were all working together, we had an adult relationship, even though I wasn't an adult, legally. And a lot of people found it very difficult to comprehend because they didn't have that kind of relationship with their mother, that kind of language like my mother and I had. And sometimes people would be offended on her behalf. You can't speak to your mother that way. Actually, I can, and I do, and it's between she and I, and that's how we communicate. So it was always a good vibe. It was hard sometimes because she when, as a musical director and a person in the band, she might have to crack the whip on me a little harder, just so that it never looked like there was any favoritism or anything. And there never was. I mean, she worked my butt, and she wanted me to be up on top of my game, as much at least, and probably more than anybody else that we worked with. And sometimes that was a little hard, but it was good training, it was a good experience, and it made for a very, very close relationship between she and I miss her very much.
Yeah, I'm sure she did a good job. Otherwise, the legacy will not continue. So you're doing a good job doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So, can you tell the fans? Do you feel like, I mean, living in UK, sometimes you're gonna miss actually where you're from. So, how does that affect? I mean, the progress of your band production and the touring in any way? Do you feel like you're missing home?
Not really. I mean, I have to say, first of all, you see New York, where I'm from, Brooklyn. You see it in the movies all the time. So I get to see it quite a bit, whether I want to or not. There are a few little odds and bits and bobs about New York that I prefer to London, say, or things about the United States that I prefer to England. But I would say very much that when I go home to visit the United States, I feel like after a couple of weeks, I want to come home to England.
Yeah, that's good to know. So, is there anything you want to tell the fans about being a New York-based band and actually being, at the moment, being based in UK? Does that make any difference to you, really, or is it like business as usual?
Well, it is business as usual, but of course this is home for me now. And so as such, I concentrate on this audience first and foremost. It is as much to you all, as much to the Brits as the United States may be the objective. Here is where a lot of Europe gets its music from, the UK and the United States. So I concentrate, since this has been my bread and butter market, this is pretty much where I focus my energy. And the United States market has, in my own mind, become somewhat secondary in a way. That's not to say that I've forgotten about it, and I wouldn't like to do more gigs there. They're beginning to, now, as the Brits have done for decades, beginning to become more nostalgic about the old school music. So there's hope for the future for that market. But here's where all the hits have been, and I expect if I carry on as I am with the new material and remakes of the old material, we'll have many more hits, and I'm looking towards writing Odessy's classics for tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait personally. And among all your songs, Wear It Out, Use It Up, ended up being #1 in UK.
Yeah, I think that's Use It Up, Wear It Out, you mean, right?
Yeah. Actually, my favorite Odessy is going back to my roots. I hear that on the radio almost every day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how does it feel? Sorry.
It's all right. Just ask it again, man.
Yeah. All right. Among all your songs, the Use It Up, Wear It Out end up being #1 for 2 consecutive weeks in the UK chart.
Yeah.
So, is there any storyline or inspiration behind the song? And actually, why in particular did your group choose to work with that song?
Well, first of all, back in those days, the artists didn't really choose anything. You know, they may have had some small bit of say. Some major artists may have had, like Prince and maybe Madonna and a few others, may have had say over what they did. But most of us working people, we were assigned a producer, and they decided the direction of an album and what songs went on it and what songs didn't, etc. Who wrote the songs and all the rest of it.
So it was like a teamwork.
Well, it wasn't really. It was very tightly controlled by the producer, and basically you just went in and you sang what they told you to sing. So I couldn't say what the motivation then was for Use It Up, Wear It Out. I will give them the credit for the fact that whatever it was that
they made the right decision.
They made the right decision. It was #1 in the UK. That song is hardly known in the UK, in the US, except for on the club circuit. It did nothing.
Yeah.
But So, you know, I'm not questioning that. I will say to you now, however, my version of Use It Up, Wear It Out has a completely different meaning and motivation for me. I've changed the music,
Yeah.
done a brand new arrangement on it, and yet I've not touched the melody. So you can still sing along to it just the way you remember it. But it has to do with my motivation to use up and wear out the legacy that is Odessy until no one wants to hear it anymore. Which I hope doesn't happen in my lifetime.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Absolutely.
So, do you want to tell us where can fans reach out to you?
Well, you can contact us on Facebook. Just Steven Colazzo. That's StevenColl.